Good evening, guys, and welcome to Keep You in the Loop podcast. Today, I'm joined by Joe from Theme Park Insanity, James from CoasterGen, Wolf Raging 95. Hello, guys. How are you doing today?
Very good evening.
Good.
All good.
Hello.
All right, all things considered.
And James just did the countdown for the first time in a Discord.
I
I'm not
did.
gonna lie,
I
it
felt
really
like
strange.
I felt very professional.
Yeah. Well, that's what we try and do here at CoasterGen, you know. We try. Doesn't mean it happens.
Let's just check if the audio is actually working.
I believe it is. Yeah,
It is
it's
a good
working.
idea.
I can see the bars moving. We've actually started a stream with audio. Fantastic.
Awesome.
But hey,
Very good evening to everybody in the chat. Thank you very much for joining us.
Yeah, good evening, guys. It looks like it's pretty quiet at the moment, so we'll just go straight in with the podcast then. So, do you want to talk to us, Joe, a bit about not just what's going on right now at Flamingo Land, but what has been happening over the last 4 or 5 months, and
Yeah, of course.
just give us a bit of an insight to people who maybe don't know what's going on at Flamingo Land at the moment.
Definitely, exactly. So, yeah, it's been quite a long sort of construction process in terms of what has actually happened since it initially sort of broke ground. We initially saw them breaking ground officially back around about June, July time, and works really started to sort of ramp up around about August time in terms of footers and things like that going in. Now, it's been sort of fairly steady in terms of construction. The track itself started to arrive on site in around about August time, and there was lots of pictures of that circulating, but also the park, shared an official image of that arriving themselves as well.
Yeah.
So the park have been quite good in terms of promoting this, sort of from day one. It's been a little bit quiet recently, but again, not going to sort of dwell on that too much.
Yeah.
And then we initially started to see the track going in. I think it was around about September, October time-ish. I think thereabouts. In fact, actually, the first initial piece of track did go in on our August visit, because I remember sharing an image of that. And then from that point on, it's been quite steady all the way up till sort of the back end of the year. Each week showed considerable progress. They got through various different elements quite quickly.
Yeah.
The first vertical loop went in quite quickly, which again, they shared a picture of as well. The lift hill literally rose quite fast too. And overall, we've seen steady progress really from sort of, first. I'm going to say erection because it has to be said. There we go. But
Yeah,
since they first started,
it's after 9 p.m. We're good.
Well, exactly, past watershed. But yeah, it's been sort of fairly steady since that point. Now there was a bit of a drop off over Christmas time.
Oh,
and that was have I lost my? Yeah, can you still hear me?
yeah, I can hear you fine. You good?
Yeah, we can find
You
it.
good?
Good. Sorry about that.
It was the punt.
Yeah.
I thought I dropped my signal then for a second. But sort of we did see a bit of a drop off around about Christmas time when RCS obviously returned
Yeah.
to spend time with the families, and as did the park staff as well. Now construction picked back up around about late January, and officially they completed track installation. I think it was back end of February, sort of early March time, around about that point. So in terms of the construction, it's been quite a quick, sort of turnaround on getting that up from sort of ground up. And where we're currently at is obviously, sort of doing is pull around with the train, making sure that all the tracks, sort of straight as it should be.
Yeah.
And we're currently actually at the final quadruple outline rolls, and they're about to make their way through that and up towards the station. So in terms of that section of the construction been over, it's nearly there. There is also confirmation now groundwork's taking place, as we've seen from the pictures. So you'll be seeing the fact that they've sort of, created quite a large dugout around the final turnaround section. And there is also a giant water tank that's gone in, or is actually been stored underneath Velocity in the tunnel. Again,
Yeah, I've seen that. It's a big white pump as well, isn't there?
Massive white pump, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's been rumoured to be used for larger water features,
Yeah.
e.g. waterfalls or rather large sort of sprays as well.
Like fountain, yeah, I think so. Around that
right.
last turnaround, it looks like it's going to go in about there, I think, where the rock work is anyway.
It
Looks
certainly
higher
appears
than
that way,
the-
yeah.
yeah.
And that's what we're expecting to see. So that's just a general overview of kind of where we've been from sort of day one up to where we are now. It's great to see everything moving as quickly as it is on site. And I think, I'm sort of leaning towards it going as a pirate theme. I have to say there is a lot of evidence supporting that.
I would,
So-
yeah, I would as well. It seems like the repaint of Velocity as well has really brightened that area up in the park as well.
It
was
really
starting
has,
to look
yeah.
a bit old and run down, and now it looks nice and vibrant and exciting times for Flamingo Land.
100%. Yeah, it's definitely given it a fresh new appearance, and it really shows the level of detail that the park are putting into their appearance for this year. Now, obviously, we're not going to talk about the obvious issue just yet, but in terms of
No.
that, we have actually still seen work continuing on site up
Yeah.
until today,
Yeah.
which is really good to see. And I take my hat off to the park for that. That is amazing. The fact that the persevering for everything that's going on shows the level of commitment that park have to that ride, and also to bringing that new investment to the park. So just well done, guys, if you're listening. Amazing.
And it's a massive investment as well. We're talking over £22 million of investment.
Really is, yeah.
Moving
definitely.
a ride from Brazil, from Hoppy Harry, getting that shipped over here, getting all the foundations laid down before the start of the year this year, and tracks starting to be installed as quickly as they possibly could to try and get this ride open for opening day.
Exactly.
Obviously, due to current climate, that's not happened, but the park are probably, if they get another week or two actually in the park, if the workers isolate themselves in the park, and actually, keep social distancing, from like when they're at work, they might actually be able to finish this and get a test done. And, that's something that we can all look forward to
100%.
in the coming weeks. And maybe that's what we should try and focus our efforts on now, guys, is just looking forward to getting back to these places. And when these places do reopen, well, we'll talk about that later. But I just wanted to talk quickly about the recreation that me and Wolf did. Well, Wolf did the track work. I tried to, from what I saw from the plans and from what I know vaguely of the area where the ride is, I tried to give it some sort of theming. Now, I used a lot of rocks. And Flamingo Land actually commented on mine and Wolf's recreation there, and they said that this is really cool, we really like it. Now,
nice.
I'm not saying that they used the ideas, but the rocks look very freaking similar to what we put in and where they are, and that layout it's a good layout, but you can only do so much with it, so I can understand why it would seem like that. But Wolf, do you want to just touch on how you used Altair for the track work and how difficult it was to do that in No Limits 2? And I know it wasn't very difficult for you, but do you just want to talk about that a little bit?
I think the hardest part was probably the Cobra roll.
Yeah.
And like that drop down underground, because sometimes it's really hard to get the underground stuff to work, like with the trenches and stuff with custom scenery, like a 3D object. The supports were a little difficult because of the way that they're they're used on that type with the box type supports.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think.
Which is strange because Intamin, you can tell it's an older model. It's a new coaster, but it's an older model because they don't use them. They don't typically use them supports anymore, do they?
No,
I don't think so.
Cylinder now, I believe, aren't they?
Yeah, I don't even know if they use them on their Intim, like Intimidator type style. But back to the recreation. It didn't take me too long. I know some people were like, "Oh, this isn't perfect. That's not perfect." But I was just going off of pictures and something I've never been on before. So, I don't think I did bad for the little bit of time it took for me to do it. It was actually really fun.
I think you did an amazing job, mate. I really do. It looks really, really,
you did
sort of
quality job.
Solid. Really
thank
good.
you.
One of the hardest parts for me and James was actually trying to get that blinking cable lift to work in No Limits 2. Now, it kept on running. We had it's a quick one. Well, do you want to tell them about when it just followed the whole track all the way back?
Yeah. So, the actual catch car for it decided that it was going to stay attached to the train for the entire run of the course, which is rather funny because the train wasn't actually there.
No.
As well. So it was just this catch car just flying around the track by itself.
That's hilarious.
It was cool. It was so difficult, and it was literally as simple as just moving the triggered object just slightly up in the station and moving the other one back, and it worked a treat. But it was so difficult.
And changing a few different parameters as
well.
Oh,
it's true. Can you remember what? Yeah, can you remember what it actually was? Was it just the scale of things?
No idea.
The speed, distance, scale. I think it was.
No idea. Everything. I think.
It was difficult. It was really difficult to do. And actually, in the recreation, if you watch the Flamingo Land recreation, guys,
If you
I
haven't, you need
used
to.
Altair for the lift hill noise. I actually used the official POV audio in that, and then I switched it just as the cable lift let go of the catch car, and just ran the No Limits 2 noise. So next time you watch it, it's a little bit of an Easter egg there. That is actually real sound from Altair. So yeah, there you go.
Awesome.
So Flamingo Land, do we have any? In the comments, guys, give us some name ideas for the Flamingo Land coaster. What we think it's going to be. You're not allowed to say inversion. It can't be inversion because that's probably what it's going to be called. But just try and think out the box. Let us know in the comments. This podcast is live, by the way, guys. So we're going to be coming to the chat in about 10 minutes time, or maybe a bit longer. We know what we have to talk about now, unfortunately, and. I think we'll let James run with this one. Are you alright with that, James?
Yes. So,
considering it's affecting
the elephant in the room, COVID-19.
Yeah.
I am now self-isolating for 14 days.
Yeah.
As per government advice.
Mm-hmm.
Oh dear.
So family members have come down with illness. I'm starting to get ill as well. So
yeah.
Yep, I'm stuck indoors for 2 weeks. So anything that you think I might be interested in doing, like shoot it my way.
I can have a few.
Yeah, because I'll be bored. But yeah, so obviously Merlin have now announced that pretty much everything that they own is closing.
Yeah.
Blackpool has also followed suit.
Finally.
Yep.
Finally. It was gonna come eventually.
Yeah, it was.
It's kind of needed.
Especially with schools closing on Friday and with what's going on in London at the moment with the tube stations deciding to close like 40 stations. It's not going to be easy to get around the capital, unfortunately, at the moment. So it's probably better for Thorpe Park to have closed. Same with Alton Towers, you know.
I agree. Definitely.
There's a lot of agricultural land up there, and you want to try and keep everybody away from it as much as possible, because in the next few months we might be relying on it a lot.
Yeah, I'd say so. I think, you know, it's been a good solid move actually. It's sad that it has happened, but I really feel like it's the best move they could have made.
You say it's been solid, but I think it's been far, far too underestimated, this whole situation.
Definitely.
If
100%.
you are unlucky enough to catch this virus, it's absolutely critical that, you know, you get help straight away. You don't mess about, guys.
Yep.
Yeah, so with me it was my brother said that he was starting to get a fever, had a cough for more than half a day. So straight away I contacted my work, he contacted his, my dad contacted work as well.
Yeah, you just got to do what you've got to do. Yeah, you got to stay safe. But I know it's taken Merlin a long time, and I am pretty annoyed with how long it took them to make the decision. I mean, I'm fuming, if I'm honest, because there's people who have hotels booked. We know a case ourselves. And, all right, fair enough. The staff have been fantastic sorting out the situation. We had a hotel booked for Travelodge, and Travelodge, do you want to just tell us about Travelodge, James? You was in charge of booking that hotel for Thorpe Park next weekend.
Yeah, so I booked a Saver 8 room, non-refundable, non-amendable. So if it needs to be cancelled, we lose out on all the money for it.
Yeah.
I emailed them on the off chance that if they need to close, will I be eligible for a refund?
Mm-hmm.
They came back with they're not likely to close, and if I were to completely cancel it myself, I wouldn't get a refund, but they would. They were happy to actually change the date or location of where it was booked. So I emailed back asking to change the date till August, and they have actually changed their policy temporarily since, at least in my case. And they've actually issued an e-voucher, which is worth the cost of the booking. So I've still paid for it, but I can I have that up until September to book another.
So that gives us a bit of freedom in terms of movement, doesn't it? And sort of rebooking it, and when we can actually do that as well.
So I can leave it till like after June, see how it's going, see when stuff's likely to reopen, and then actually look at booking something then.
Yeah, definitely.
So but in terms of Merlin and people having stuff booked for this weekend, I do know that their final kind of chance to cancel their rooms and stuff or move them would have been either today or tomorrow.
So they've literally left it till
and they have
second.
left it to the last minute, and the amount of people that are going to now have to contact and wait in a call line to actually kind of figure it out before they end up losing out on their booking and money. I'm hoping that Merlin are actually going to be nice, and if people aren't able to get through until like into next week, they hopefully will actually let people still change their booking.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm going to be 100% upfront here. I think the way they've actually handled it, in hindsight, is shit, putting it politely. And excuse me for the language, but it's the truth. Right. And to put people in this position when, you know, they're paying the amount of money that they're paying to come and stay at these resorts and attend these parks is out of order. This should have been addressed a lot sooner. And the fact they've left it till when they have is just not acceptable whatsoever. Now, they're going to have to be accommodating because of the simple fact that they've ones
left
that have
it too long. Yeah.
Exactly. It's their fault they've left it to when they've left it to. So they're going to have to be accommodating. And if they're not, they're going to lose customers, and rightly so. So, you know, they need to sort their act out. This is another example why Merlin need to look at themselves and really shake their heads and think, what the hell's going on here? Yeah. You know, it's
you're not wrong. You're not wrong. One thing I will say that I am over the moon with, but it's again, it's taken too long. This should have been done at the start of the week when... for example, as soon as Drayton Manor shut this week, Merlin should have shut.
Yes, they should have.
Now, what advantage do you have over being open when Drayton Manor isn't? They've already had enough bad luck this year, Drayton Manor. I feel so sorry for them and the staff and the owners and everything. And, you know, with the floods and all of the hardship they've had over the last couple of years and the tragic accident and all that. All they're trying to do is entertain people. Take people away from their daily lives and transport them into... It might not be the best theme park, but if you're a kid, Thomas Land is epic.
My little boy loves it.
Yeah, it's epic. It's
really
mint.
Is.
It's like you're there.
It is.
The little coasters they've got there are quality. The thrill rides they had, G-Force. Well, we've all got an opinion about G-Force. We think it's going to pop up at some park somewhere. It could be anywhere. It could be my back garden, maybe. I don't know, but it could be anywhere.
Yeah, come ride it.
Right, it could pop up anywhere. We've had a bit of a long-running joke there from the older episodes of the podcast where I basically say, "Oh, you can put G-Force there, pretty much anywhere." But Shockwave, you know, UK's only stand-up coaster. They've got things there that if they just put their mind to it and I know they're trying, and I just want to give a shout out to all the staff there. In fact, I want to give a shout out to every member of staff at a theme park, hotel, restaurant, anyone on 0-hour contracts, anyone who isn't in an employment right now because of the situation. Just hang in there, guys, because when all this blows over, there are still going to be theme parks to work at. There's still going to be restaurants. People still want to go to theme parks. People still want to eat. People still want to go to hotels. It's just a matter of time. Take this time to spend time with your loved ones, find a new hobby, and help the vulnerable. And we can all work together. We're going to be here at CoasterGen. We're going to be trying to do as many things as we can to keep you happy and entertained. We'll do all we can, as much as we can.
One thing that I do want to add in terms of parks closing, there is one park that I still haven't seen them close. I've just gone onto their Facebook. Adventure Island.
Right.
They're still their update yesterday was that they are still insisting on being open.
So they've not updated today so far?
No, nothing today.
But as far as we know, they could be in a conference call right now. Because isn't Adventure Island Council land? I believe there's a park that is run with council...
I think it's on council land, but it is...
Isn't it a car park or something like that?
Val group of companies.
Yeah, I remember... Oh, I can't remember what it is. There is a seaside... Not a seaside, but there is a park that... Was it Dreamgate Margate I'm thinking of?
Could possibly be.
I think it might have been. Anyway, but yeah, so there's not just two people or one person or three people making these decisions, guys. These decisions are massive, and the reason why it's taken Merlin so long is because it's a massive company. Massive. But it's not right. It should have been done last week, easily.
Just touching on Merlin again very slightly, sorry, I do apologise. But if anybody's got a Merlin pass or they've got a Merlin annual subscription, Merlin have officially updated their annual pass social media today, advising that all monthly payments are now suspended until further notice. And that with regards to annual passes, they're actually looking at options as to what they can do with those as well. So rest assured, Merlin are obviously aware of the fact that a lot of people out there do have passes, and they are obviously going to be looking after those pass holders as well.
Yeah.
So at least that is one positive thing they are doing, definitely.
Yeah, I was wondering what they were going to do in terms of the annual passes, especially with the monthly membership. If we're paying monthly for something that we're not getting.
Well, we physically can't because everything's shut. And just touching over parts and actually yet announcing anything, Flamingo Land are actually yet to announce closure as well, as far as we're aware. If that has changed while we've been on this cast, please drop that in the comments because we would love to know. However, as far as we're aware, Flamingo Land are still open at present. So.
Wow. I don't think they will be.
No, I don't think they will.
I think we're going to be getting a massive announcement from the government tomorrow in regards to everything. Just prepare for the worst, guys, but don't go panic buying. There's no need to.
Yeah.
People in Italy are still allowed to go out and shop, so.
Yeah. So if the lockdowns, you're not gonna be like the government can't let you starve. No. You're gonna be allowed to go out, buy essential food, buy medicine if you need it. It's just avoiding not necessary contact. So going to the pub.
I mean, if you need to,
it's not necessary. You don't need it. So
unless you're in Shaun of the Dead, then you know.
No. That, I have seen a picture of that. That is closed.
That closed. Yeah, it's closed. That is closed.
Just out of interest, in terms of visiting family, do we know how to stand on that? Should that be the case?
It depends.
It
is just trying to isolate yourself as much from your family.
Right, okay, so you just got to sort of keep yourself to yourself then.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
You can still do things for your family though. I mean, you can send packages through windows and letterboxes.
Yeah.
You know, just make sure there's and all that stuff's to do later, isn't it? But all right, that's enough of infusion. Let's move on and take some questions from the chat. So, hello, chat, first of all.
Hello.
It's always strange doing a podcast and live and people who are in here to every live stream and we don't say hello to you straight away. But hi, Ben. Hi, Ryan. Hi, Laughing Coasters. Hello, Ollie. Hello, Mikhail. Hey, dude. How you doing? Hope you're doing okay. Ben and Dan. All right, Dan. How you doing, lad? Keeping as they're going. What a legend. Good evening. All right, so Flamingo Land are now officially opening their theme park on the 4th of April. Ben King has put in the chat.
That was the last official update that they dropped, and that was a bit of an opening date. And as far as we're aware, that hasn't been changed yet.
Okay.
There's still time though.
There is still time. Yeah, it could still change.
Thingy. What do you think we could get in 2021 from other parks? That's from Ollie Sharp.
Very good question.
That's a good question. Flat rides for towers. Another. I think a Giga is coming somewhere.
I feel obviously with Infusion at the moment. the more likely investment, if there are going to be investments next year, will be flat rides, stuff that is easily put up really quickly.
Yeah,
I agree.
Coaster takes a lot of planning, a lot of groundwork. If we were seeing coasters coming, we would probably have the planning permission either in by now or just about to go in.
Yeah,
very good point.
And obviously talks, and there is going to be a financial impact.
Oh yeah, massive.
So I don't think parks will be in the place to invest for next year.
No, definitely not. I mean,
we're more likely going to look at investments returning in 2022 onwards rather than next year because of the massive impact that this is going to have.
I mean,
as not just as a country, globally.
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly.
I mean, I think you could see Blackpool getting an investment next year of some kind. Towers probably. I feel sorry for Towers because Gangster Granny looked so cool.
Yeah.
And I was so excited about that new dark ride in the country. Okay, it's not it's not dark themed like a lot of them are, but it looks like a really cool idea for a story for the ride. Obviously Orion as well. Let's actually think about the States for a minute now.
Yeah.
They've just built that.
Yeah.
No one's riding that anytime soon.
Iron Gwazi.
Yeah, Gwazi, yeah.
Icebreaker, Emperor,
Yeah, all of these
big investments, yeah.
Like, I mean, and you can't live life not trying to do things, and I think that I think insurance policies are going to change. Going forward for pretty much everything.
Yeah, because I don't think there were many clauses about pandemics.
No, well, probably not. Act of God, maybe, but yeah.
Yeah. So if we've got anything else, Haven, Holidays, and Sandcastle water parks in Blackpool are also closed. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
I'm super glad I haven't made any purchases on season passes yet or anything. Feel really bad for people who had extensive plans in place. Yeah, we were supposed to go to Towers. I was supposed to be on my way in literally 12 hours to Mike's house to go down there and see Mike, Stacy, and Tom, James, Steve, Joss, everyone. So if you are listening, guys, hope you're doing okay. And then we were going to head to Towers for the weekend like we usually do every opening weekend. But unfortunately, for the first time in a while, it's not happening.
Yeah, and that was the plan next weekend as well, to go to Thorpe and Chessington.
Yeah, I was really looking forward to that, to be honest. I'd proper psych myself up for that because I've never been, as I keep saying.
But I'm glad that they've decided to push it back, and obviously with the fact that I'm now having to self-isolate, I wouldn't have been going next weekend.
Well, no,
the way which, if it was open, that would have really sucked.
Definitely.
So,
I mean, you're lucky if you get to go on them and rides outside Asda now, aren't you?
Not even leaving the house.
And you think about it,
I really should have invested into a VR headset.
You still can. There's time, dude. There's time. Dan will deliver it from Asda. He'll get it for you.
I might go buy one myself.
Yeah, it might not be a bad shout.
Headset on guard, no limit. Say go, Daisy rides.
Yeah. Pantheon has been put on halt. I'm super sad about it. Yeah, I can imagine. So Flamingo Land's probably going to stop with everything. Like we just touched on before in the chat. Do me a favor, guys. There's 11 people watching. Let's try and get 11 likes. YouTube likes it when we have a thumbs up party and dispatch rides. It's cool.
It's worth watching.
And James hates it when I say that, so it's even more.
I really do.
You should really do it. You should do it.
Can we get an explanation to why?
Why what? Pantheon.
He doesn't like it. Real
because
quick.
He's a miserable.
It's just
old man.
It's just cringe.
Is it miserable?
Cringe.
Is it?
Oh, wait, just because I have basically the body of a 50-year-old man.
Yeah, he buys long life milk even when there isn't a crisis. It's
have you got your Wervis Originals on standby in your nice?
Yes, I like Wervis Originals.
I like Wervis. I like the chewy ones.
What's wrong with Wervis Originals?
Nothing.
Nothing to be fair, nice, but
exactly.
Man thing, got to drop it in there.
Do you remember them gold tins of like lime, like lemon sweets, or like coffee? Do you remember them gold tins that you used to get in like your grandma's car?
Yeah, and then it looks like you're all on crack because it just goes boom in your face. It's like powder all over the car.
Yeah, right.
Family of crack addicts. Woo!
Why have you got these, Grandma? Well, just in case I have a funny turn,
Yeah, they'll give you a funny turn,
Yeah, that white powder though. Oh my god. Yeah. And we're talking about sweets for anybody just tuning into the podcast. Yeah. Cheers, guys. Loving the podcast. Shame about the news today, but definitely the right decision. We've had to move our hotel booking for this weekend to later in the year. Yep. Yeah, we same situation, Dan. Hope you and Paris are okay.
Do bear with obviously the customer relations teams, because there's going to be a lot of inquiries as well.
Yeah, definitely.
So like, don't give them.
My mum always has them tins of sweets in her car, Ben.
Hey!
We're not alone then. We're
My
not alone
grandparents
with
used to
that.
have them as well.
Yeah.
Bro.
All right. So Ryan Delaney said flamingo spin for the name.
Oh
Go
yes.
spin.
Could be.
That's a good call.
All right. Let's go. Let's have a look.
Ooh, no questions.
Hope you're doing well too, Luke. Yes, we're good. All right, what have we got next? All right, we just want to touch a bit on Indiana Beach. So there was. Oh, hi, All Access Theme Parks. Welcome.
Good evening.
I've had Michael. What? Michelle in lockdown since last Wednesday. No packs for us until this passes. She's yes. Yeah, we wish you all the best, and if we can do anything to help, we will. So, just to go back to what we're going to crack on with the podcast now, guys. But if you have any questions, feel free to light the chat up and in the comments, and we'll get to them as soon as we can. Probably about going to go for another 20 minutes now in the podcast, and then we'll head back to the chat. So I want to talk about Indiana Beach now. As we know, how long ago was it now? About 2-3 weeks ago it closed down. Was it even longer?
It's been about roughly a month now.
Has
actually,
it been a month already? Wow.
I
Yeah,
thought it was about a month. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
it's
So
crazy how fast it's gone.
yeah. So Apex, right? That's what they're called. The group.
Yeah,
Closed Indiana Beach about a month ago, and there's been petitions and calls from the community to make sure that it doesn't go, because it's a big establishment in the community, right? That's basically what it is.
yes.
So
Here.
Indiana Beach and the governors had a meeting, I believe, and it was broadcast, but the microphones were, you might as well have just not bothered. So what we got from it and from the minutes from the meeting was that Indiana Beach have given a buyer the incentive of $3 million if they continue to operate at full capacity and not sell the land for other use. So that means basically if you buy Indiana Beach, you get $3 million up front from the government and, well, I think from the governors. I'm not sure about the government. I don't know how America works like that. I'm trying my best. So that they will continue to operate all the rides there and keep it going as long as they can. So the $3 million, I mean, that is quite a bit of money for someone to come in, and there's enough there to maintenance, for maintenance on the rides, to employ staff, and to get this place going. It sounds to me like you only need a little chunk of money to get going with this, and then it's up to you to make the money. Obviously, they're not going to buy it yet, but maybe in July, August, something like that, maybe, when all this, hopefully, as everybody keeps saying, blows over, that maybe someone will buy it for maybe like 8-10 million, and they'll get what they need. What do you reckon?
I think that's probably about right. Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, hopefully, somebody comes forward and does buy the park.
I mean, surely if it's a staple part of the community as well, they'll want to get this back to its original state, won't they? And they'll want to get it back open for people to visit. But correct me if I'm wrong, but was this not quite a large, sort of tourist destination for people to go to as well? Kind of the American equivalent of Pleasure Beach sort of thing.
Kind of, yeah. It was it was like a lot of memories were there with a lot of family members that are no longer with other families and things like that. So it was like a big it was kind of like a place that wasn't like the biggest place that anybody would just go and travel to, but it's a place with a lot of memories and people.
A lot of sentimental value then.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you for that. Yeah. Yeah. That's what I was trying to get
to. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah.
That's all right. Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah. I think that $3 million isn't enough. I think it's enough. It should tie them over for the buyer for the first year, and relieve the pressure to make as much money as they can. And to be honest with you, I think some of that money will be coming from, like you guys say, the community around there, because it relies on Indiana Beach for tourism. So
Yes.
I know you were just touching on that there, but no, it really does rely on tourism. I've actually seen the numbers. I can't remember them off my head, but it brings in a lot of people to the area and a lot of economy to the area. So I think that's why the governors are so keen for someone to buy it out and not actually have to turn it over to what we would call in the UK council property. So yeah.
Yeah, because a lot of people do go there, and if that park isn't there, that area does hurt a lot financially.
Yeah.
Because that's what. But even though I did say it's not really a tourist place, but you're right, it does pull a lot of people in.
Do you want to just remind people, Wolf, on what parks actually are near Indiana Beach?
Well, it's kind of in between. You got Great America if you go north, and if you go more south, without being too specific of direction, you have Kings Island, Cedar Point. Yeah. So I mean, it's like right in the middle. Yeah.
And I mean, it must be good enough if in the past it's drawn crowds from them park. I mean, it's you could do a tour. It could be part of a park tour, where you do like a road trip to different parks in the area and that side of the country. I mean, that's a substantial amount of rides that people are missing out on right now. Well, not right now, but with it being closed, since it closed. Yeah. Because there's a lot of unique rides there. And some really good wooden coasters, and I feel like you're kind of losing all them classics now in the US.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like, what would you consider now, to put you on the spot, but a classic wooden coaster that has been taken out recently, other than Gwazi, obviously? What do you reckon? Or what would you like to see stay, basically?
Well, I don't want to see Eagle go. I know a lot of people want to see that happen, which I don't think Six Flags is going to do it. I know they were looking at it at one point until RMC was walking back to like where the staff stay, basically not like the staff but like park president and stuff kind of hang out near where Iron Wolf once was, and they walked through that site and they asked what was there and if they had any plans, and then they told them no. So that's when Goliath came to be, because they're like, we could give you a coaster that'll cost roughly the same if not cheaper, you know in the original plans, Goliath was a lot bigger than what we have now.
Do you know exactly what it was supposed to be?
I don't, but the height was accurate. But the layout was supposed to go past the train station, which I want to say, if I did it right at Google Earth, it was about, I think, about another 150 feet out.
Wow.
So, I mean, I know it doesn't seem like much, but if you think about what you could kind of just do in that, I mean, look what they did with the dive loop in that little spot. So, I mean, there was so much, for all we know, that dive loop could have been pushed back. We could have got a couple more airtime hills leading up to the stall. Could have got like a twisted double up or something. I don't know, anything, really anything. You start speculating, with that little bit of space, what Alan could have done with it. But,
yeah.
Yeah, I don't know the exact layout, but I have a friend that, and I know a lot of people say this whole source thing, but I actually have a friend that's good friends with Rocky Mountain Construction. I see that they're together. They hang out. He's good friends with Alan, and he was able to see those plans. He couldn't tell me what they were, but he was able to see them.
Wow.
So, there's that. So, I know, in fact, he also challenged, and this is a little hint, he challenged Rocky Mountain Construction to the ALS Ice Bucket Challenge at one point, and they did do it on the Twisted Colossus grounds. They did it off from the brake run to the ground, so they had their hard hats on, and they did the Ice Bucket Challenge from there. Yeah, pretty cool stuff. Yeah, sorry, a little off topic there, but
it's fine. No, that's cool. Go ahead.
Yeah.
They did accept, right?
They did accept, and I think they challenged some other people. I don't remember who else they challenged, but they challenged. I believe they had to challenge somebody else from there. So that's pretty cool.
Extremely, really cool.
Yeah. So I guess it answered the question with the coaster not wanting to see removed. it's hard to say of the ones that were RMC'd and removed, because I guess we really haven't seen too many retracks,
No.
have we? Other than Iron Gwazi.
Wicked Cyclone.
Yeah, Wicked.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Wicked
Oh yeah,
Cyclone.
Steel Vengeance. Yeah,
Steel
can't forget
Vengeance.
about that. But
Yeah.
Steve.
yeah, actually, there's quite a
Steve.
few, but I guess they really were more so needed rather than just. I know Mean Streak was terrible from what I was told. Had no airtime. It was forceless.
Yeah, it
And
looked like
now-
a pretty dead ride, to be honest. And also, they did Untamed over in Wallaby Hollow from the old Robin Hood as well.
Yep.
But I believe the direction that RMC seem to be taking now is more towards, sort of ground up rather than conversion, I believe. And obviously, you only have to really sort of look at the likes of Zaja, and one or two of us to realise that's the case.
Yeah.
And obviously, they've shown what they could do with that. So really, that's kind of cemented the future and being quite versatile, which is really good. Definitely need something over here.
I think if we're going to get an RMC over here, I wouldn't get your hopes up. I think it's going to be something I don't mean to shit all over Goliath here, Wolf, but we'll probably get something small along them lines, like a nice, quick, impactful little minute ride with, and then but it'll draw crowds because it's an RMC in the UK. I think that would be one of the better ways to do it.
Yeah, it could sell on that fact alone, couldn't it? Because it'd be the first UK RMC, basically, which everybody's calling for. So
it is, yeah, and that is exactly what people are calling for. So what else have we got? All right, we've talked about pretty much everything we wanted to talk about. So anything going on in the chat? Pretty quiet tonight. I'm guessing a lot of people are either at Costco or somewhere right now.
Yeah.
Morrison's buying bog roll.
Going out button.
Bog roll search.
Do you think Pleasure Beach will extend their annual passes? Quite possibly.
Yes. I think...
I feel like it would be a good move on their part.
I mean, we're always complaining that parks aren't open long enough in the UK.
I don't feel like they are going to push into their close season on the other half of this year, though.
Oof, that's a good question.
Because obviously they have to have that time to do maintenance. Yeah, their rides aren't going to be pushed as hard this year because they're not open for quite a bit of it. But they still need to have that regular maintenance. So whether they extend the opening slightly longer, don't know.
I feel like they could do an extra month minimum at least. I feel like the leeway is there for them easily. So
I'd say so.
And I think, given the extraordinary circumstances we're experiencing at present, I really think there is a lot of leeway to kind of catering around that and still bring the crowds in for a slightly longer period of time than they normally would. I'm sure a lot of parks hopefully will be considering that, and if they're not, they need to do, because at the end of the day, it's an industry that needs to strive and not just sort of say, well, this has happened, screw it, let's just close up as we normally do, because you're just going to lose money there. It's not a good move. So yeah.
I wonder what Wicker Man would be like if it was an RMC. I think that's something we could probably use our time trying to do something with that.
Could be quite intense. Obviously with the kind of how quick transitions RMCs can do.
You wouldn't want a smiler drop though, would you?
No, you wouldn't want a smiler drop.
But, two of them in the park.
But you could make quite good use of that out of the space, because GCI did because of their train design, they can do really rapid transitions.
Yeah.
So that GCI is actually quite compact space, and it was a good use of space as well because it did extend out up towards the tree line.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, but it could have been. It could.
Yeah. I can't remember where I heard this, but I heard them that they actually did look at RMC as a potential option for SWA, but in the end did decide to go with GCI rather.
Yeah, the reason why they went with GCI, the reason why they went with GCI was because they sat out, from what I heard from the Towers Times conference thing they had with them, from what they showed on YouTube, is that they said if we're going to build a Woody, we're building a Woody. we're not going to build an
Yeah.
RMC. They said they looked at hybrids and all different types of wooden coasters, but they wanted to build a woody if they were going to build a woody. That's basically what they said. That's their statement.
Because it fits with going back to the natural sort of theme, doesn't it?
Hi 13.
Yeah,
it does. And I think it's the right decision. It brought a lot of money back into the park and it drew guests. So
it was a very good investment.
Very
Still
good.
Does.
And I mean, if you compare that to Fort Park's last coaster, the Swarm.
Yes. And their other investment, Darren Brown. They've made a series of bad investments in the past few years.
Yeah.
And I feel like Thorpe need to have a look at towers. And they're owned by the same company, but it is different management at the parks.
Yeah, I think that's
they're taking it in different directions.
Well,
I feel like Thorpe do need to have a look at towers and see what kind of crowd, what they're doing is attracting crowds, and take a page out of their book.
Yeah,
it's clear that towers are well ahead of Thorpe in terms of that. So maybe, as you said, they need to take a leaf out of their book on that. 100%.
Yeah, I agree.
And actually figure out a brand and stick with it.
Yeah, stop changing your brand. You change your brand more than Primark
out as a family
knickers.
park. Started out family, then they went frill, then they went family again, then they went frill again, and now they're heading back towards family.
Yeah.
You've got 2 other family parks on your doorstep.
Literally.
You're not going to compete.
Exactly.
You're owned by the same company, but you don't want to compete with them parks.
No.
You don't.
So stick with a brand that actually appeals to like the thrill part.
Yeah.
Like you were the thrill capital of the UK.
Well, yeah, because
stick with that brand. Stick with that brand.
I agree, Ben.
I do. I do as well.
100% agree with that. Yeah, John needs to build something for Thorpe.
Come back.
Because originally, Thorpe was going to be the family park, and Chessington was actually going to be the frill.
That's true.
I remember that. Yeah.
Because Colossus was originally planned for Chessington.
Yeah, and wasn't Stealth?
Imagine that.
I know.
Hang on. Wasn't Stealth planned for Alton Towers, and then they switched Rita with Stealth?
No, I've heard multiple different things.
Yeah.
And
Did they tell us something at Thorpe about that though?
The one that I saw was that it was actually planned to be one ride.
Oh, that's right. Yes, it was.
So it was a giant top hat, and then the rest of the layout as well.
Yeah.
Wow, that would
from Rita.
You said top hat. All posh then.
Top hat.
Top hat.
Potted plant.
Top cashback.
Would you like any cashback, sir?
Top cashback banter.
Top banter.
Yeah, I do. Oh, speaking of Fanta, I can't believe I'm not going to have peach Fanta from Alton Towers.
Oh yeah. No, you just need to just go to like a View or something.
Oh no, they're all shut as well.
Yeah. That's true.
I'm sure they'll leave the confectionery lobby open. The amount of money I can just make from that.
Just me turning up and getting peach Fanta every day, like literally.
Yeah.
Mikael could not agree more about Thorpe. They need to establish their identity and stick with it and fill it wholeheartedly before they add any more coasters. Yeah,
100%.
Yeah, I mean, they could even do things like repaint the Swarm a different color, retheme it, and then try and rebrand it. Like just to give them a kick up the arse, basically, just to try and move on with something, and to try and they tried a few things with that ride. I think get rid of the billboard, and I think you've built too many rides in Merlin now that actually require to be about the end of the world or destruction and ruins and rust. And
do you know why they do that?
Because it's cheap.
Cheap to maintain.
But Swan wasn't.
Because they can let it get destroyed.
And it still fits the theme.
It still works.
I do need to borrow one of them Peach Phantom machines. It does work. Yeah, it does.
Yes,
work,
you do.
Right. But then when you look at something like Wicker Man, I mean, that's a fantastic theme.
Yeah.
And that's not about ruin. Well, it's not about It's about death in a way because it's a sacrifice.
Yeah, but it's not a post-apocalyptic where everything's destroyed.
No, yeah. I mean, you're in a woods, and you're in the woods, and you have a god that you have to sacrifice yourself to, basically.
It's quite a poetic theme, really, in a way, isn't it?
It is, yeah. It's a story,
yeah.
and it's one of the better stories all told.
Oh yeah, 100%.
I think.
Definitely.
Especially the way they pulled it off. I mean, like Wolf, what in the States do you know when you guys get a ride like Orion? Do you actually even care about the story, or do you just jump on the coaster and enjoy the coaster?
I mean, I would say theme matters. I mean, look at the outcry that I was telling you about when Six Flags decided it was a good idea to throw Justice League in the Southwest Territory area. I mean that ruined the whole you know the whole theme behind the Southwest area because that's like the best themed area in the park. So when they decided to throw Justice League in the Southwest area, people complained.
Yeah.
So what did Six Flags do? They were like, okay, fine, we'll go ahead and just push the Southwest area sign back, and we'll just make it part of County Fair. So that's what they did. Basically, was they made it part of the County Fair instead of Southwest Territory. So yeah, I would say theme matters. In terms of Six Flags, they don't care about theme, but I think I mean, people not to say that the guests don't care about theme though, because
yeah,
Six Flags just does it because it's cheaper and they can just throw in a million rides that are clones and they don't care.
Yeah.
It's just okay. Well, this works, and I'm not taking a shot at Six Flags. I'm speaking the truth. That
yeah.
they don't care. They just rather throw a ride somewhere, and people aren't going to complain because it's something new. So yeah, if people are complaining, it's because of the theme.
Yeah.
So
Six Flags seems to be very heavily saturated with DC, doesn't it? To be perfectly honest.
yeah, I think it's because of their I think it's their contract with them or something like that. They have like a deal with DC, so like that's why you see so many DC rides and clones because that's like that. I guess that's I don't really care for it that much, but it's whatever. To be honest, I miss Mr. Six, and yeah, Mr. Six was awesome.
Yeah,
that's cool, man. Do you want to just tell us about that the trip to Dollywood you took and you went on that
went on what?
That ride we were talking about yesterday, the one where it had random drops. What was it called?
Oh jeez. It was this is how you know I'm not that familiar with that park. It's called Blazing Fury.
That's the one. I can think of it.
And that ride, if you had never been on it, like I said, I was saying to you yesterday, I was on it, and like I thought, they had like a nice like firefighter looking like he's coming down the pole from the roof of the station, which is pretty cool. So that you get off and you get on, and I think on the same side of the station. Before they dispatch, they say fire in the hole. So you get dispatched, and I was thinking it was going to be one of those little dark rides, that you kind of get like a little bit of scenery and really no surprises. I wasn't expecting it to be anything big, but because I was new to the park, I wanted to get this experience and say that I could do it. So here I am, we're riding this thing, and all of a sudden we're like halfway through the ride, and I'm looking at all the scenery and stuff. I'm like, oh, this is cool, whatever. And then I see people throwing their hands up, and I'm like, wait, what are they doing? Why are they throwing their hands up? Well, next thing I know, we're dropping, and I was like, whoa! I was so like shocked by the the drops in this thing because they weren't like massive drops, but when you're not ready for them, it's like, oh wow, this is really cool. Like I kind of wish that I rode it a second time, but the wait for it was kind of long, and I wanted to go ride Wild Eagle in Tennessee Tornado because that's where the line was short.
Yeah.
Lightning Rod was in a soft opening, so it was not open that day, unfortunately. And the sad thing is I was in college at the time, and all like winter long and partially spring because I didn't go till late summer. I kept thinking of the animation of the lightning rod, like the guy in there like, so I'm thinking like, yeah, lightning rod, sweet, this is gonna be fun. Once I get to college, I'll be done for the summer and you go enjoy lightning rod, this and that. I get there and lightning rod's not even open. So So that was
Oh, hell.
it was disappointing. I was like, okay, but still had a good time at the park because there was still lots to experience. Blazing Fury, though, like I said, was honestly a surprise ride. It definitely got me because I didn't usually I like to watch POVs before I go to the park because like that's how I get like really excited.
Yeah.
But
Yep,
this
I know
ride's in
that
the
feeling.
dark, so you know the only way you're gonna be able to see it is with the lights on, and I'm like, might as well just let it be without the lights because that's what the experience is gonna be. So didn't watch a POV for that one, and it doesn't matter how many POVs that you watch of Wild Eagle or Tennessee Tornado. Getting to experience it is a whole nother, uh, it's whole different. It's like completely different from just watching a POV because you don't get to feel what that ride really provides until you're there. So
Yeah.
yeah, it was pretty fun. I liked Dollywood. If you haven't been there before, I encourage you to go if you can. Really
Yeah.
good park.
It's on my list to visit.
Yeah.
100%.
Real
Yeah,
quick,
I'd love
there.
to visit Dollywood.
Yeah,
Yes,
definitely.
they're Gerstlauer. There are two Gerstlauers. Fire Chaser. That was I think my first coaster when we got there. We decided to do that one first because that looked cool. Really fun ride. Uh, yeah, Fire Chaser was fun, and so was what was that? After Fire Chaser, we went to I think it was Wild Eagle then, but we did ride. What's the other Gerstlauer there? It's
Mystery
Oh
Mine,
gosh,
something like that, is
Mystery
it?
Mine. Yep, Mystery Mine.
Yeah,
There we
Mystery
go.
Mine.
I can think of the crows because like literally
Yeah.
when you dispatch out of the station, you hear like it tells you to listen out for bells, and if bells like you hear bells, it's an issue. So of course you hear the bell when you dispatch. It's like oh. So then you hear the crows because like you're banked certain ways, like to the left, to the right. Typical Gerstlauer when you leave the station. So you drop down and
Are
then
you throwing
if
shade on Gerstlauer there, or did that there, right,
no,
Wolf?
no, no shade.
Quick
No shade
shade.
at all. It's typical Gerstlauer. No shade. Yeah, no shade thrown here.
Yeah.
But that was like, they're typical. So like it's like okay, cool, cool. And then the first lift, the first drop, when you go up that lift, you go over that little bridge area that you actually walk underneath when you're there.
Yeah.
Just before that drop. Uh that drop's cool, but the second one is a banked drop. I think it's 90 degrees as well, I'm pretty sure. That drop was really cool. Now, I didn't tell my brother about the fire effect on the second drop, so he was not ready. And of course, right after they do the fire, you drop down, so it's like you really don't have the time to prepare, like to be like, oh wait, there's fire. Oh crap, there's the drop because literally it's fire drop. So it's like, oh, so yeah, that's pretty cool. Then you get the nice double inversion
Yeah.
or double inversion, yeah, double inversion, and you get the like the Raven turn downward and pop up into the brakes. Pretty fun. Since I'm talking about this park, let's talk about Tennessee Tornado real quick.
Yeah, sure.
Uh, that ride really awesome too. Especially at the end because there's trims. I'm pretty sure it's trims on that little like pop of air at the end there, and they don't feel like they do anything because literally you fly like out of your seat. I mean, safely, of course. Um,
Yep.
so yeah, you like just like fly up. It's like wow. I know it's a little rough, but it's probably one of the smoother arrows that I've been on. It had some rough moments, but if you knew how to ride an arrow, which typically if you know how
Brace,
to ride
brace,
the
brace.
yep, it's not so bad. Honestly, with the tubular supports that Alan went with, it was a lot smoother than what I was expecting. It wasn't like Demon, where once you hit the bottom of the drop, it's a rough
Oh
ride for the.
God, yeah. The corkscrew did that at Alton Towers.
Yes.
After that little turnaround, the little RMC turnaround it used to do at the top there, and then just drop down, and then you just hit the bottom of the hill on corkscrew, and whoo,
Oh.
Yep.
yeah.
I
It was
remember that very well.
yeah, it was.
I never got to experience it.
Well, to be fair, it's a shame that you didn't, but
You're probably not missing much.
no, it's just the fact that it's the cred. To be honest with you, it's a great cred to have, and not many people do have it now. Who's in the enthusiast community? A lot of people are obviously younger now in the enthusiast community. But corkscrew was a really fun ride, and the old arrow coasters. I mean, just imagine doing a corkscrew on the big one, guys. Like how that would feel. That's what it felt like.
Really painful.
You know, it's one of them. I remember when the GP used to say that the big one goes upside down. A lot of people when I was in school was like, "Oh, the big one goes upside down. There's a loop. There's a loop." I was like, "Nah, there's no loop." And I got there, I was like, "It's a helix."
It goes upside
Definitely
down.
not a loop.
Really?
It's a helix down, bruh.
I wasn't aware.
Yeah, Tennessee Tornado does sound awesome though. It's profiled well. Yeah, well, like you say, Alan designed it all, did he? Or do you know?
I'm pretty sure it was all Alan.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it was all Alan on for that one, because that's when I watched his interview, and how he basically said it with his interview was, he started out as a consultant at Arrow, and then the guy that was designing the rides at the time wasn't doing something right. He pointed out that his numbers were wrong, and he took a job there at Arrow, and they made him the head designer there, and he designed the Yellow Coast when they went over to SNS. But yeah, one of their last rides, I think, I think one of their last rides was X2, but he explained that whole long process. If you don't mind me getting into that real quick.
Yeah, sure, man.
Yeah.
With X2, he explained in the interview that for it took about 10 years, I think, before Arrow finally passed it. He said for years he kept trying to tell them, look, this is what I'm having in mind. And this is before animation, of course.
Yeah.
So he kept trying to tell them that you're spinning while riding. And they're like, wouldn't that make people sick? We don't want to go with that. People aren't going to want to buy that. So for about 10 years, he said he just kept trying to push it. And the front desk of Arrow kept saying, no, no, no. So finally in 2000, he proposed it to Arrow again, and then they had animation, so he could finally show them what it was doing, and that it was a controlled flip and all that cool stuff. And finally, they passed it. But as you know, that ride's very expensive. That type is very expensive, and yeah, it didn't do very well for Arrow. But Alan does say in another interview that if it wasn't for Arrow with a lot of things, maybe we wouldn't have what we have today in the coaster industry, because Arrow did everything they could to keep up with everybody else, even though they've paved the way for a lot of other things.
Yeah.
So pretty cool.
Yeah.
And
Without Arrow, there wouldn't be a lot of sort of different types of things that actually are in the industry today, would there? Because it had such a heavy influence on sort of what future development sort of took place, that really they were kind of like the godfather of the coaster industry in a way, really.
Yeah.
Which is really quite cool. And the fact we actually still have an Arrow coaster here in the UK is just phenomenal, really. It really is.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, in fact, no, we have two. Sorry, we've got two. We've got the big one, and we've also got Revolution as well, which just counts. So, yeah.
The first ever looping coaster in Europe.
Indeed.
It says, it doesn't say actually who designed the corkscrew. It just says it was Aerodynamic, Evercomer and Arrow.
Was it maybe Ron Toomer, or was that too late for Toomer?
I'm not sure. It's not. I'm trying to look on Wikipedia now. CDB. I'm gonna check out CDB now, but
because I could see it being Toomer if it was a certain time period. Funny thing is Toomer never wrote his rides. He said that he believed that his rides were good, and that he didn't need to ride them, basically. Needless to say, I've got news for you, buddy. Go ride some of your rides if you could have, because they were not what you thought they were.
No.
They were good, but they hurt.
Just a little bit.
yeah,
just
absolutely.
a little, yeah. For me personally, never got to ride Shockwave, but I know that ride messed up my mom's neck a little bit. So, yeah, she's not blaming nobody, because it's what it is. But she said that. Yeah, she did say that it hurt her neck. Which she's not the only one though that I've talked to that actually got hurt by that ride, because obviously it was not great because it's not there anymore.
We get it, because Grand National is literally turned into a full-time chiropractor right now, so
you might as well have.
Yeah, we get where you're going with that.
Just put in the ride notes now. If you have this problem, just the bottom put disclaimer. You may need to get in contact with a chiropractor after this ride.
Head over to Pleasure Beach. We'll help you. We've got plenty of them.
It's like if you've got a bad back, don't ride. If you haven't got a bad back, you will be by the time you get off this.
Yeah, don't ride again.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
So
right.
go on.
Oh, sorry.
No, go on, mate.
Ryan Delaney had a really good question actually recently. It was if you were management at Alton Towers, what would your next what would you add next? So it's quite a decent question actually. What would you add next, Luke?
A B&Q trade card so they can get some paint and repaint all the tracks.
And a credit card.
Legit.
I think definitely.
That's what I would do.
Yeah. I think flat rides, as you said earlier on, they definitely need those. They're definitely lacking. So yeah, good solid flat rides.
I think I would definitely try and repaint rides such as Smiler, 13, Rita as well. Nemesis probably could do with a top up, and Galactica could definitely do with a top up. So you're talking about the main coasters there. I would probably try and keep the Wicker Man as clean as possible. That ride is not aging well at all. I know it's a wooden coaster, and I talked about it last time. But when I rode it last year, compared to the year before, it was it was chalk and cheese. It's like it's been sat there and just getting itself all roughed up, and it's not had a shave. Basically, that's kind of what trying to like compare it to. It can be good, but it can also go the other way. I mean, James, when you rode it, I said to you, that's not what it should be like.
Yeah.
It was, the lats were incredible. Like, it's good in a way, but also you've marketed it as a family attraction. So you need to take care of it. And I think this is one of the issues that Towers had about building a Woody in the first place, was the amount of maintenance cost it would be, literally, to check the ride every day, to replace bolts. I mean, these things have got millions of screws and all that kind of stuff going on with the supports and checking the foundations, and the wooden coaster structure is just
a sec, guys.
A mammoth task to look after every day. I mean, you just have to look at Megaphobia or Oakwood. I think pretty much all their maintenance team just works on that in the morning. Don't go anywhere. But I would definitely spruce up the park. Even like repaint the Runaway Mine Train. Just get everything looking like it's just come out the factory. It's brand new. Keep it going for another 10 years. Add a new coaster. Add some flats. Make up some new stories. Think about what you're going to do with Hex in the future. That's a big area where you could do stuff with.
That certainly is.
Rita is probably coming to its end of its life. Think about what you could put on there as an attraction, not even just as a coaster. I mean, you could put like 4 or 5 flats there and completely open that land up.
Certainly could do.
I mean, you think about what used to be there. I mean, you had the Bone Shaker, the Magic Carpet Ride. I think you had the chair swings there as well. You had Corkscrew at the time. I mean, you had a lot of rides in Ugland. And now you've got, well, in Dark Forest, you've got Rita and 13.
That's it.
And a lot of basketball games that nobody plays on. So
HB Leisure.
Yeah. That's what I would probably do, is spruce the park up. I mean, Tower Street now looks phenomenal because of TLC. But they need to extend TLC, and I think they need to be more open with the public. That would probably be a direction I would go in as well, is I would let people know exactly what's going on and what to expect when you turn up next time.
I think Merlin needs to do that in general with all the parks. I think they need to be far more open with what they actually have planned. Yeah. And I think it's a good way to build, sort of hype up and actually get people interested again, because keeping everything secretive doesn't always necessarily work. And I think they're very good at trying to do that, and it not really been, sort of quite appealing anymore.
Yeah.
It's like, like, oh, something's coming, and people are like, oh, yay, tell us what the hell it is already,
Yeah.
Rather than being like, oh, well,
Black Mirror Maze.
Yeah, teaser. It's like, oh, yep, something big coming. Nah, Black Mirror Maze.
Yeah, more bouncy
Thanks,
castles.
guys. Thanks a lot. Yeah, Bounce Stealer Mark 2.
What would you do, James? With Towers? Towers. Yeah.
What would I do? I don't actually know, to be honest. repaint of tracks. I think that's just a given. They kind of need to do that. I'd probably look at investing some stuff into like actually properly rebranding Galactic Air. Because they could actually, now that they got rid of VR, invest some money, like make the bare concrete tunnel that was actually meant to have theming.
I mean, you could literally go to any music shop and buy lights that flicker and put them in the tunnel. It would make a drastic,
literally lights that that are just kind of chasing along the route that you're about to take, as if it was like a escape hatch.
Yeah.
In a ship, like it could work so well. Like it's just a bit of investment there.
It could.
I totally agree. Going through that tunnel, it's just like, oh, okay, and I'm going through just grey concrete tunnel.
What I don't get is they did the portal at the drop. Why didn't you do the portal in the tunnel?
Well, I say head.
Well, I don't mean literally do the portal in the tunnel, but make the portal feel like you're exiting a space station, but not in VR. Yeah. Like,
actually in person,
yeah.
I feel like the reason they done it in the first place was because they did have VR, so they wanted kind of theming for everyone that's not on the ride to look at. Because if you're in VR, you're not going to see it. So what's the point in putting it somewhere that it's not going to be seen anyway? But now that they have taken away the VR,
they could put improvements.
They could add investment elsewhere into the ride to actually bring the theming up to scratch.
Yeah. All right, we're gonna turn back to the chat now and see what people are saying. Give a shout out to all these places, NHS workers. We won't give a shout out to the places, but we will just say to anybody in healthcare right now, thank you so much for what you are doing. You are very brave people, and we love you to bits. We're going to try and do a live stream at some point and take donations and send them directly to the NHS workers. That's what we're going to try and do. So if you guys are interested in that, let us know in the comments. It's great that companies are coming together, but it's too little too late, in my opinion. They need to do more for the NHS in normal times. And I hope this is an eye-opener just to how amazing the staff are at the NHS, to be honest with you. And anyone in healthcare. Care workers, the lot. Amazing people.
Big, hats off to you guys, because you're doing just an amazing job. You really are. And without you, we wouldn't be able to fight this situation as well as we are doing. So just amazing. Thank you so much.
Jack, what do you think about the parks being closed? We actually spoke about that in the first half of the podcast, so if you want to go back and listen to that, feel free. Anything else we got in there? Just say hello to Digital Dan, Brady, Ben again, Jack, Raymond. Hi, Raymond.
Hey, Raymond.
So I think that pretty much covers it for our podcast today. I'd just like to say that in the event of UK-wide lockdown, we have some ideas for the channel. We're going to be trying doing almost 4 streams a day. It's going to be crazy, but it's going to be fun. We've got Coffee with CoasterGen. We've got the Ride of the Day. And we want you guys to send us layouts on any format you want. Pen and paper, No Limits 2, Planet Coaster, Parkitect, Roller Coaster Tycoon, anything you want. And we're going to try and build a community park on a live stream with your rides and our ideas and your themes and your ideas, which is going to be cool. We're also going to be doing a Rise Sims 2 stream, and we're thinking of streaming something like X-Plane or Flight Sim or even like Train Simulator or something like that, just to mix it up a little bit. Just let us know in the comments if you are watching this on playback. Thank you so much. And also make sure you subscribe to the channel, because if you're not, you won't get entered into the 1,000 subscriber giveaway, which is you will win a brick at Alton Towers. So you will get your name etched in the lovely Valley of Coasters in Oakwood. So make sure you subscribe. Make sure you like this video.
Absolutely. Just like to say as well,
Oakmore, not Oakwood. Oakmore.
Just like to say, for anybody that is following Theme Park Well, we do have the return of POV of the week next week. Sorry, POV of the day next week, rather. Now, there was a slight delay on bringing this back to you. The only reason being that we have been working very hard to sort of try and make this as, sort of interactive and fun as possible. So that is returning next week on Theme Park Insanity. And we also do have plenty of content planned to keep you guys entertained throughout this dark time as well. So please stick with us, guys. So much to come. And also, massive thanks for your support so far as well. So, yeah. All cool.
Do you guys know why the Smiler has an awkward support structure? Yes, because it wasn't supposed to go over the toilets, Ryan. Alton Towers basically said to John Wadley, you need to use that area there, and you need to use it as small as possible, which is why you have the drops and the inverted drops down into the pit from the toilet area. He wanted to go further out and have the drops turn around and then go up and then spin, from what I believe, but instead he had to do the turnaround, straight into the inversion, straight down into the pit. And that's why there's a weird structure above the toilets. And I think some of it is actually just to protect the building, I would imagine so, and keep the coaster in the air. I would say so. Wolf, do you want to add anything? Do you want to plug anything? Or do you want to talk about what's going down? Are you doing a stream tonight, or...?
Quite possibly. Yeah, I think there's a stream tonight. I think we could do one.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we'll do a stream. Maybe you guys could tune into that. That'd be pretty cool. Yeah, I think we could do a stream tonight. There should be one. There should be a planned one. So look out for that. Don't have much of anything else to mention, but there should be a stream tonight.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
James, you want to add anything?
Nothing at the moment.
Nothing at the moment. Okay.
Yeah.
All right then, guys. Well, thank you so much for listening to this podcast. We are going to be moving to Spotify, Google Podcasts, and Apple Podcasts very soon. We just have to be, with the provider we're using, we have to be 5 weeks behind in order to upload content. So we are now almost there. One more podcast, and we will be straight onto Spotify from episode 1, right from the beginning. Yeah, so we shall be back. I will have a video dropping tomorrow, a No Limits 2 video dropping on this channel. Speed Demon, the Timberliner wooden coaster, which is rapid. That's going to go on tomorrow. Live stream Sunday, and then we're in uncharted territory from Monday onwards. But like I said, we'll do all our best. We'll keep giving you the best news we can over on our Facebook page, Twitter. And we'll keep giving you some nice roller coaster pictures and all kinds of good theme park content on our Instagram as well. But so yeah, guys, thanks for listening. Thanks for interacting as always. Thank you for your questions. Thanks for being awesome. Stay safe. Look after your loved ones. And we will see you in the next podcast. I've been Luke. He's been Joe from Theme Park Insanity. He's been Wolf Radio Night 5. And he's been James. And we've been Keep You in the Loop podcast. We'll see you next week, guys.
See you next week.
See you next week.